Yoga Vasistha Sara, the essence of Yoga Vasishta. Ever feel like life's a bit much, like you're caught in a loop you can't escape? Today, we're diving into some ancient wisdom that's surprisingly relevant for our chaotic modern lives. This is the essence of Yoga Vasishta, a classic text that breaks down how our minds create our reality and how we can find real, lasting peace. It's not about complicated yoga poses, but about understanding your true self. Let's explore these powerful ideas updated for today. On Chapter 1, Letting Go, Dispassion, ? Respect to that calm radiance, endless and beyond space and time, pure awareness that you can only know by experiencing it directly. This isn't for someone completely clueless, nor for someone who already gets the truth. It's for you if you're thinking, I feel trapped. I need to find freedom. Until you're truly blessed by a higher power, you won't find the right guide or the right teachings. Just like you get a solid boat from a boatman, O Rama, you learn how to cross the ocean of life's struggles by hanging out with truly wise people, a best fix for the long-running drama of life. This cycle of suffering is asking, who am I? Who's experiencing all this drama? That question, seriously asked, can cure it completely. Don't spend a single day in a place that doesn't have a wise, truth-knowing person, like a tree offering good fruit and cool shade. You should seek out wise people even if they don't formally teach. Even their casual chats contain wisdom. Being around wise people turns emptiness into fullness, the fear of death into a sense of immortality, and tough times into opportunities. If wise people only cared about their own happiness, who could those struggling with life's sorrows turn to? What's taught to a worthy student who's ready to let go of attachments, oh good soul, is real wisdom. It's the true point of sacred texts and the deepest understanding. Following traditional teaching methods is just for keeping the tradition alive. Pure awareness comes only from the student's own clear understanding. You can't see the divine with the help of books or even a teacher. The self is seen by the self alone with a clear mind. All the skills people learn are lost if they don't practice. But this skill of wisdom keeps growing once it sparks. Just like a necklace you're wearing is thought lost because you forgot, and then found when you realize your mistake. The self is attained when the illusion is removed by the words of a wise guide. That person is truly unlucky who, not knowing their own self, chases pleasure in fleeting things, like someone realizing too late the food they ate was poisonous. That confused person who, even after knowing worldly things are deceptive, still obsesses over them, is more like an ass than a human. Even the smallest anxious thought can plunge a person into sorrow. When free from all thoughts, one enjoys lasting bliss. Just as we experience what feels like hundreds of years in a dream that lasts an hour, we experience the play of illusion in our waking life. Happy is the person whose mind is calm inside, free from attachment and hate, and who watches this world like a mere spectator. One who has truly understood how to drop all ideas of wanting and rejecting, and has realized the awareness within the deepest heart. Their life shines. When the body dissolves, it's only the consciousness limited by the heart that ceases that particular form. People get upset for no reason, thinking the self is gone. When pots are broken, the space within them becomes one with the unlimited space outside. Similarly, when bodies cease to exist, the self remains eternal and untouched. Nothing is ever truly born or dies, anywhere, at any time. It is only the ultimate reality, Brahman, appearing illusorily as the world. The self is vaster than space. It is pure, subtle, never decaying, and inherently good. How could such a thing be born? And how can it die? All this is the peaceful one, without beginning, middle, or end, which can't be labeled as existing or not existing. Know this and be happy. O Rama, it's truly nobler to wander begging in the streets, even among outcasts, with a simple bowl, than to live a life lost in ignorance. Neither sickness, nor poison, nor hard times, nor anything else in the world causes more suffering to people than the kind of foolishness that takes root in their minds about their bodies. Chapter 2, The Unreality of the World. Just as the great ocean of milk calmed down when the churning mountain stopped, the illusion of life's drama ends when the mind becomes still. This drama, samsara, starts when the mind gets active and stops when it's still. So still your mind by managing your breath and your deep-seated desires. This pointless drama is born from your imagination and vanishes when you stop imagining. It's certain that it's absolutely not solid. The idea of a real snake in a picture of a snake stops when you know the truth. Similarly, the drama of life ceases to exist when truth is realized, even if it still seems to appear. This long-lasting ghost of a life drama created by a person's deluded mind and the cause of their suffering disappears when you really think about it. O Rama, this illusion, Maya, is so tricky. It brings delight by its own destruction. Its nature is hard to figure out. It stops existing even while you're observing it. Dude, it's wild how this illusion fools the entire world. Because of it, the self isn't seen, even though it's in every part of our body. Whatever you see doesn't truly exist in the way you think. It's like a mythical city in the clouds, Fata Morgana, or a mirage. That which is unseen, though within us, is called the eternal and indestructible self. Just like trees on a lake bank are reflected in the water, all these different objects are reflected in the vast mirror of our consciousness. This creation, which is just a play of consciousness, pops up like the illusion of a snake in a rope when you're ignorant, and ends when you have correct knowledge. Even though bondage doesn't really exist, it feels strong because of desire for worldly pleasures. When this desire fades, the feeling of bondage weakens. Like waves rising from the ocean, the restless mind rises out of the vast and stable expanse of the Supreme Self. It's because of that part of us which always, on its own, imagines everything quickly and freely, that this magic show of the world is projected in our waking state. This world, though unreal, appears to exist and causes lifelong suffering to an ignorant person, just like a non-existent ghost causes fear to a child. Someone who has no idea of gold only sees the bracelet. They don't get that it's merely gold. Similarly, towns, houses, mountains, snakes, etc., are all separate objects in the eyes of the ignorant person. From the ultimate viewpoint, this objective world is the subject, the self itself. It's not separate from the self. The world is full of misery to an ignorant person and full of bliss to a wise one. The world is dark to a blind person and bright to one who has eyes. The bliss of a person with discernment, who has let go of the worldly drama and discarded all mental concepts, constantly grows. Like clouds that suddenly appear in a clear sky and just as suddenly dissolve, the entire universe appears in the self and dissolves back into it. One who sees the sun's rays as no different from the sun and realizes they are the sun itself is said to be free from mental divisions, nirvikalpa. Just as cloth, when you look closely, is seen to be nothing but thread, this world, when you inquire into it, is seen to be merely the self. This fascinating world rises like a wave in the sweet ocean of consciousness and dissolves back into it. How then can it be different from consciousness while it appears? Just as foam, waves, dew, and bubbles are not different from water, this world which has come out of the self is not different from the self. Just as a tree with its fruits, leaves, vines, flowers, branches, twigs, and roots exists in the seed of the tree, this whole visible world exists in the ultimate reality, Brahman. Just as a pot eventually goes back to clay, waves into water, and ornaments into gold, this world, which came from the self, ultimately goes back to the self. The snake appears when you don't recognize the rope. It disappears when you recognize the rope. Similarly, this world appears when the self isn't recognized. It disappears when the self is recognized. It's only our forgetfulness of the invisible self that causes the world to appear, just as ignorance of the rope causes the snake to appear. Just as a dream becomes unreal when you wake up, and the waking state becomes unreal in a dream, death becomes unreal in birth, and birth in death. All these are thus neither real nor unreal. They are the effect of delusion, mere impressions arising from some past experiences. Chapter 3, Signs of a Liberated Person. Knowing the self is the fire that burns up the dry grass of desire. This is truly what's called samadhi, deep meditative insight, not just abstaining from speech. One who realizes that the whole universe is really nothing but consciousness and remains totally calm is protected by the armor of ultimate reality, Brahman. They are happy. A yogi who has reached the state beyond everything and always stays cool, like the full moon, is truly the Supreme Lord. One who reflects in their innermost heart on the meaning of the Upanishads, scriptures dealing with Brahman, and isn't swayed by joy or sorrow, isn't tormented by the drama of life, just as birds and animals don't take shelter on a burning mountain. Evil thoughts never occur to someone who knows Brahman. Wise people, like ordinary people, might occasionally make others angry, but they do so only to test their own ability to control their reactions, or to see how others' anger affects them. Just as the trembling of the body caused by an imaginary snake might linger for a bit even after realizing there's no snake, the effects of past delusion can persist for some time, even after getting rid of all delusions. Just as a crystal isn't stained by what's reflected in it, a knower of truth isn't really affected by the results of their actions, even while focused on outward actions. The knower of truth always remains inwardly focused and extremely calm, like someone asleep, firmly convinced of non-duality and enjoying perfect mental peace. Yogis go about their work, seeing the world as if it were a dream. Let death come to the knower of truth today or at the end of ages. They remain untarnished, like gold buried in mud. They may leave their body in a holy city or in the house of an outcast. The desireless one is liberated the very moment they attain knowledge of reality. To one who is desireless, O Rama, the entire earth is as insignificant as a cow's hoofprint. Mount Meru, a small mound, vast space as little as that in a tiny box, and the three worlds a mere blade of grass. Like an empty container in space, the knower of truth is empty, both inside and out, while at the same time being full inside and out, like a container immersed in the ocean. One who neither likes nor dislikes the objects seen by them, and who acts in the world like someone asleep, is said to be a liberated person. One who is free from the knots of desires and whose doubts are all settled is liberated even while in the body, a jivan mukta. Although they may seem bound, they are free. They remain like a lamp in a picture, unaffected. One who has easily, as if in play, cast off all egoistic tendencies and has abandoned even the object of meditation is said to be liberated, even while in the body. One who doesn't cling to relatives, like a blind person not recognizing them, who fears attachment like a snake, who sees sense pleasures and diseases as similar, who disregards the company of women or intense worldly distractions like a blade of grass, and who finds no difference between a friend and a foe, that person experiences happiness in this world and the next. one who casts away from their mind all objects of perception, and, attaining perfect stillness, remains calm as space, unaffected by sorrow, is a liberated person. They are the supreme. The noble-hearted person whose heart's desires have ended is a liberated person. It doesn't matter whether they practice meditation or perform actions or not. The idea of self in the non-self is bondage. Letting go of it is liberation. There is neither bondage nor liberation for the ever-free self. If, by perceiving that objects of perception don't really exist, the mind is completely freed from those objects, then the supreme bliss of liberation follows. Letting go of all deep-seated tendencies, vasanas, is said to be the best, real liberation by the wise. That is also the flawless method to attain it. Liberation isn't on the other side of the sky, nor in the underworld, nor on earth. The extinction of the mind, resulting from erasing all desires, is regarded as liberation. O Rama, there is no intellect, no ignorance, no mind, and no individual soul, jiva, in the ultimate sense. They are all imagined in the ultimate reality, Brahman, for one who is established in what is infinite, pure consciousness, bliss, and absolute non-duality. Where is the question of bondage or liberation, since there's no second thing? O Rama, the mind has by its own activity bound itself. When it is calm, it is free. Chapter 4, Dissolving the Mind. Consciousness, which is undivided, imagines desirable objects and runs after them. It is then known as the mind. From this omnipresent and all-powerful Supreme Lord arose, like ripples in water, the power of imagining separate objects. Just as fire fanned into a flame by wind is extinguished by the same wind, what is born of imagination is destroyed by imagination itself. The mind has come into existence through this imagination due to forgetfulness. Like experiencing your own death in a dream, it ceases to exist when you examine it closely. The idea of self in what is not the self is due to incorrect understanding. The idea of reality in what is unreal, O Rama, know that to be the mind. It's the nature of the mind to accept certain things and reject others. This is bondage, nothing else. The mind is the creator of the world. The mind is the individual. Only what's done by the mind is truly considered done, not what's done by the body. The arm that hugs a wife is the same arm that hugs a daughter. The mind causes or produces the objects of perception. A mind is bound by latent impressions, vasanas. When there are no impressions, it's free. Therefore, O Rama, quickly bring about, through discernment, the state where there are no impressions, just as a streak of cloud appears to stain the moon, or an ink blotch, a white wall. The evil spirit of desire stains the inner person. O Rama, one who, with an inward-turned mind, offers all three worlds like dried grass as an offering in the fire of knowledge, becomes free from the mind's illusions. When one knows the real truth about acceptance and rejection and doesn't think of anything but abides in oneself, abandoning everything, their mind doesn't come into existence. A mind is intense, goram, in the waking state, gentle, santam, in the dream state, dull, mudham, in deep sleep, and effectively dead when not in any of these three states, just as the powder of a clearing nut, kataka seed, after settling the dirt and water, merges into the water. The mind, after removing all impressions, itself merges into the self. The mind is the cycle of suffering, samsara. The mind is also said to be bondage. The body is activated by the mind, just as a tree is shaken by the wind. Conquer your mind first by pressing palm against palm, grinding teeth against teeth, and twisting limb against limb, metaphorically, with strong will. Doesn't a fool feel ashamed to wander the world as they please and talk about meditation when they can't even conquer their own mind? The only God to be conquered is the mind. Its conquest leads to attaining everything. Without its conquest, all other efforts are fruitless. To be unperturbed is the foundation of true well-being. One attains liberation by it. For human beings, even conquering the three worlds without conquering the mind is as insignificant as a blade of grass. Associating with the wise, abandoning deep-seated tendencies, self-inquiry, and control of breathing, these are the ways to conquer the mind. To one wearing leather shoes, the whole earth feels as if it's covered with leather. Similarly, to a mind that is whole, undivided, the world overflows with nectar. The mind becomes bound by thinking, I am not the ultimate reality, Brahman. It becomes completely released by thinking, I am Brahman. When the mind is abandoned, dissolves, everything dual or single dissolves. What remains after that is the Supreme Brahman, peaceful, eternal, and free from misery. There's nothing to equal the supreme joy felt by a person of pure mind, who has reached the state of pure consciousness and overcome death. Chapter 5. Destroying Latent Impressions. O Rama, this inquiry into the self, asking, who am I, is the fire that burns up the seeds of the evil tree which is the mind. Just as wind doesn't affect creepers in a picture, afflictions don't affect one whose understanding is fortified by firmness and always reflected in the mirror of inquiry. Knowers of truth declare that inquiry into the truth of the self is knowledge. What is to be known is contained in it, like sweetness in milk. To one who has realized the self by inquiry, even great deities like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva become objects of compassion as limited concepts compared to the self. To one who is fond of constantly inquiring, what is this vast universe, and who am I? This world becomes quite unreal. Just as in a mirage, the idea of water doesn't occur to one who knows it's a mirage. Latent impressions, vasanas, don't rise in one whose ignorance has been destroyed by realizing that everything is Brahman, ultimate reality. By abandoning latent impressions or by controlling breath, the mind ceases to be the mind. Practice whichever you prefer. O pure soul, cherish the company of sages and true scriptures. You will attain the state of supreme consciousness, not in months, but in days. Latent impressions cease to be active when one associates with sages, discards all thoughts of worldly drama, samsara, and remembers that the body has to die. O Raghava, even ignorant people, by the firmness of their conviction, can convert poison into nectar, and nectar into poison. When this body is taken to be real, it serves the purpose of a body. But when it's seen as unreal, it becomes like space, unsubstantial. O Rama, while lying on a soft bed, you wander about in all directions with a dream body. But now, in this waking state, where is that body? Just as a respectable person avoids contact with an outcast woman carrying dog's flesh, an old cultural metaphor for something considered impure, one should discard the thought, I am the body, even if everything else were to be lost. When the spiritual seeker, sadhu, thinks only of Brahman, ultimate reality, and remains calm and free from sorrows, their ego dies of itself. If one realizes the unity of things everywhere, one always remains tranquil, inwardly cool and pure like space, without the sense of I. If inwardly one is cool, the whole world will be cool. But if inwardly one is hot, agitated, the whole world will feel like a burning mass. Chapter 6. Meditation on the Self. I, the pure, stainless, and infinite consciousness, beyond all illusion, Maya, look upon this body in action, like the body of another person. The mind, the intellect, the senses, etc., are all the play of consciousness. They are unreal and seem to exist only due to lack of insight. Unmoved by hard times, a friend to all the world in good times. Without ideas of existence and non-existence, I live free from misery. I am inactive, desireless, clear as the sky, free from craving, tranquil, formless, everlasting, and unmoving. I have now clearly understood that the 5 elements, the 3 worlds, and I myself are pure consciousness. I am above everything. I am present everywhere. I am like space. I am that which truly exists. I am unable to say anything beyond this. Let imaginary waves of the universe rise or fall in me, who am the ocean of infinite consciousness. There is no increase or decrease in me. How wonderful that in me, the infinite ocean of consciousness, waves of individual souls, jivas, rise, play for a while, and disappear according to their nature. A world which came into existence because of my ignorance has likewise dissolved in me. I now directly experience the world as the supreme bliss of consciousness. I bow to myself, who am within all beings, the ever-free self, abiding as inner consciousness. Chapter 7, Method of Purification. O Raghava, be outwardly active, but inwardly inactive, outwardly a doer, but inwardly a non-doer, and thus play your part in the world. O Raghava, abandon all desires inwardly. Be free from attachments and latent impressions. Do everything outwardly, and thus play your part in the world. O Raghava, adopt a comprehensive view, characterized by abandoning all objects of contemplation. Live in your innate self, liberated even while alive, Jivan Mukta, and thus play your part in the world. Earn the forest of duality with the fire of the conviction, I am the one pure consciousness, and remain happy. You are bound firmly on all sides by the idea, I am the body. Cut that bond with the sword of knowledge, I am consciousness, and be happy. Discarding attachment to the non-self, regarding the world as a seamless whole, concentrated and with attention turned inward, remain as pure consciousness. Remain always as pure consciousness, which is your constant, true nature, beyond the states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. O mighty armed one, be always free from mental concepts, like the heart of a rock, though not unfeeling like it. Do not be that which is understood, nor the one who understands. Abandon all concepts and remain what you are. Elimina un concepto vaya en otro, y la mente va en la mente, usando pensamientos refinados para superar los grosos, y habita en el ser. ¿Es esto tan difícil, hombre santo? Sever the mind, which has become red-hot from its worries, with the mind which is like iron sharpened by the study of scriptures. O Raghava, what do you have to do with this inert and dumb body? Why do you feel helpless and miserable because of joys and sorrows on account of it? What a vast difference between the flesh, blood, etc., making up the body, and you, the embodiment of consciousness. Even after knowing this, why do you not abandon the idea of self in this body? The mere knowledge that this body is like a piece of wood or a clod of earth enables one to realize the supreme self. How strange that, while the real ultimate reality, Brahman, is forgotten by people, the unreal called ignorance, avidya, appears very real to them. It is, again, strange that while the supreme Brahman is forgotten by people, the idea, this is mine, called ignorance, is firmly held by them. When you do your work, do it without attachment, just like a crystal reflects objects before it, but is not affected by them. A conviction that everything is Brahman, ultimate reality, leads one to liberation. Therefore, reject entirely the idea of duality, which is ignorance. Reject it entirely. Chapter 8, Worship of the Self. If you separate yourself from the body and rest at ease in consciousness, you will become one, the sole reality, with everything else appearing insignificant like grass. After knowing that by which you know this world, turn your mind inward, and then you will see clearly, realize the radiance of the self. O Raghava, that by which you recognize sound, taste, form, and smell. Know that as yourself, the Supreme Brahman, the Lord of Lords. O Raghava, that in which beings vibrate, that which creates them, know that self to be your real self. After rejecting, through reasoning, all that can be known as non-truth, what remains as pure consciousness, regard that as your real self. Knowledge is not separate from you, and that which is known is not separate from knowledge. Hence, there is nothing other than the self, nothing separate from it. All that Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Indra, and others always do is done by me, the embodiment of consciousness. Think in this manner: I am the whole universe. I am the undecaying Supreme Self. There is neither past nor future apart from me. Reflect in this manner. Everything is the one Brahman, pure consciousness, the self of all, indivisible and unchangeable. Reflect in this manner. There is neither I nor any other thing. Only Brahman exists, always full of bliss everywhere. Meditate on this calmly. The sense of a perceiver and something perceived is common to all embodied beings, but the yogi worships the one self. Chapter 9, Exposition of the Self. When this collection of body, senses, etc. acts on its own, an idea arises: I am this. This is the individual ego, jiva, stained by the dirt of ignorance. When the conviction that everything is the space-like, all-pervasive consciousness becomes firm, the jiva comes to an end, like a lamp without oil. Like a misguided person of high birth who abandons their own nobility and adopts a lower station in life, the Lord, consciousness, assumes the role of the jiva, individual ego. Just as a child sees an apparition created by its own fancy, the foolish jiva, due to delusion, creates this unreal body and sees it as separate from itself. A child superimposes a real elephant onto a clay elephant and plays with it. Similarly, an ignorant person superimposes the body, etc., onto the self and carries on their activities. Picture of a snake doesn't cause fear of a snake when it's realized to be only a picture. Similarly, when the jiva snake, the mistaken ego identity, is clearly understood, there is neither misery nor the cause of misery. The snake superimposed on a garland merges back into the garland. Similarly, the sense of separateness rising from the self merges back into the self. Although bracelets and other ornaments appear to be many, as gold they are one. Similarly, although the outer forms, adjuncts, are many, the self is really one. Like the different organs of the body, or different forms made of clay, like pots. Non-duality appears as duality, multiplicity, in the form of moving and unmoving objects. Just as a single face is reflected as many in a crystal, in water, in ghee, or in a mirror. The one self, is reflected in the many intellects or minds. Just as the sky appears to be stained by dust, smoke, and clouds, the pure self in contact with the qualities of illusion, Maya, appears to be soiled by them. Just as metal in contact with fire takes on the quality of fire, heat, the senses, etc., in contact with the self, acquire the quality of the self, consciousness. Just as the invisible Rahu, a mythical celestial body causing eclipses, becomes visible when it seizes the moon, comes in contact with it, the self is known by experiencing objects of perception. When water and fire come together, they acquire qualities of each other. Similarly, when the self and the inert body come together, the self can look like the non-self, and the non-self can look like the self. Just as fire thrown into a large body of water loses its fiery quality, consciousness, in contact with the unreal and inert, seems to lose its real nature and become inert. The self is realized in the body only with effort, like sugar from sugarcane, oil from sesame seeds, fire from wood, butter from a cow, and iron from ore. Like the sky seen in an unbroken crystal, the Supreme Lord, who is consciousness by nature, is seen exists in all objects. Just as a big lamp kept inside a vessel made of precious stones illuminates both outside and inside with its light, the one self illuminates everything. Just as the sun's reflection in a mirror illuminates other things, the reflection of the self in pure intellects illuminates other things. That in which this wonderful universe appears like a snake in a rope is the eternal, luminous self. The self is without beginning or end. It is unchangeable existence and consciousness. It manifests space. It is the source of the individual soul, jiva, and higher than the highest. The self is pure consciousness, eternal, omnipresent, unchangeable, and self-shining like the light of the sun. The omnipresent self, the foundation of all, is no different from shining consciousness, just as heat is not different from fire. It can only be experienced, not merely known intellectually. Pure consciousness without intellect, the Supreme Self, the illuminator of all, indivisible, pervading everything within and without, is the firm support of all. The Self is absolute consciousness. It is pure awareness, never decaying, free from all ideas of acceptance or rejection, and not limited by space, time, or category. Just as the air in the universe pervades everything, the Self, the Lord, abides without a body in everything. The consciousness which exists in the expanse of earth, in ornaments, in the sky, and in the sun, also exists inside worms lying in their shells under the earth. There is neither bondage nor liberation, neither duality nor non-duality. There is only Brahman, ultimate reality, always shining as consciousness. Awareness is Brahman. The world is Brahman. The various elements are Brahman. I am Brahman. My enemy is Brahman. My friends and relatives are Brahman. The idea of a consciousness and an object of consciousness is bondage. Freedom from it is liberation. Consciousness, the object of consciousness, and everything else is the self. This is the gist of all systems of philosophy. There is only consciousness here. This universe is nothing but consciousness. You are consciousness. I am consciousness. The worlds are consciousness. That is the conclusion. That which exists and that which shines is known to exist are all the self. Anything else which seems to shine does not really exist. Consciousness alone shines by itself. Ideas of knower and known are just mental constructs. Chapter 10, Nirvana, Liberation, Peace. Supreme bliss cannot be experienced through the contact of senses with their objects. The supreme state is that in which the mind is annihilated through one-pointed inquiry. A bliss arising from the contact of the senses with their objects is inferior. Contact with sense objects is bondage. Freedom from it is liberation. Attain the pure state between existence and non-existence, the underlying reality, and hold on to it. Do not accept or reject the inner or the outer world. Depend always on that true reality between the sentient and the inert, which is the infinite space-like heart, core of being. The belief in a knower and something known is called bondage. The knower is bound by the known. One is liberated when there is nothing separate to know. Abandoning the ideas of seer, seen, and sight, along with deep-seated desires, vasanas from the past, we meditate on that self, which is the primal light, the basis of all sight. We meditate on the eternal self, the light of lights, which lies between the two ideas of existence and non-existence. We meditate on that self of consciousness, the bestower of the fruits of all our thoughts, the illuminator of all radiant objects, and the farthest limit of all accepted objects. We meditate on that unchangeable self, our reality, the bliss of which arises in the mind from the close contact between the seer and the seen, when perceived without separation. If one meditates on that state which comes at the end of the waking state and the beginning of sleep, one will directly experience undecaying bliss, the rock-like state in which all thoughts are still, and which is different from the waking and dream states, is one's supreme state. Like mud in a mud pot, the Supreme Lord, who is existence and space-like consciousness and bliss, exists everywhere, inseparable from things. The self shines by itself as the one boundless ocean of consciousness, agitated by waves of thought. Just as the ocean is nothing but water, the entire world of things is nothing but consciousness, filling all quarters like infinite space. Brahman, ultimate reality, and space are alike in their invisibility, all-pervasiveness, and indestructibility. But Brahman is also consciousness. There's only the one waveless and profound ocean of pure nectar, sweet through and through, blissful everywhere. All this is truly Brahman. All this is Atman, self. Do not cut up Brahman into I am one thing and this is another. As soon as it is realized that Brahman is all-pervasive and indivisible, this vast drama of life, samsara, is found to be the Supreme Lord. One who realizes that everything is Brahman truly becomes Brahman. Who would not become immortal if they were to drink nectar? If you are wise, you would become this Brahman by such conviction. If not, even if you are repeatedly told, it would be useless, like offerings thrown on ashes. Even if you have known the real truth, you have to practice always. Water will not become clear by merely uttering the name of the clearing nut, Kataka fruit. If one has the firm conviction, I am the Supreme Self, called the undecaying Vasudeva, a name for the divine, one is liberated. Otherwise, one remains bound. After eliminating everything as not this, the Supreme Being or state which cannot be eliminated remains. Think, I am that, and be happy. Know always that the self is Brahman, one and whole. How can that which is indivisible be divided into I am the meditator and the other is the object of meditation? When one thinks, I am pure consciousness, it is called meditation. And when even the idea of meditation is forgotten, it is samadhi, complete absorption, a constant flow of mental concepts relating to Brahman, ultimate reality, without the sense of I, achieved through intense practice of self-inquiry. Jhana is what is called sampragnata samadhi, meditation with concepts. Let violent winds, which mark the end of ages, blow. Let all the oceans unite. Let the 12 suns burn simultaneously. Still, no harm befalls one whose mind is extinct, completely stilled and merged in self. That consciousness, which is the witness of the rise and fall of all beings, know that to be the immortal state of supreme bliss. Every moving or unmoving thing whatsoever is only an object visualized by the mind. When the mind is annihilated, duality, multiplicity, is not perceived. That which is unchangeable, inherently good, auspicious, and tranquil, that in which this world exists, that which manifests itself as the changeable and unchangeable objects, that is the soul consciousness. Before shedding its skin, a snake regards it as itself, but once it has discarded it in its whole, it does not look upon it as itself any longer. One who has transcended both good and evil does not, like a child, refrain from prohibited acts from a sense of sin, nor do they do what is prescribed from a sense of merit. Just as a statue is contained in a pillar of stone, even if it's not actually carved out, the world exists in Brahman, ultimate reality. Therefore, the supreme state is not a void. Just as a pillar is said to be devoid of a statue when it has not actually been carved out, Brahman is said to be void when it is devoid of the impression of the world, when the illusion is gone. Just as still water may be said to contain or not contain ripples, Brahman may be said to contain or not contain the world. It is neither void nor mere existence in the limited sense.